Hi, my name is Ken Masterson. This is a short video dealing with a problem someone was having, which was he went and did something and got absolutely no suggestions. So I'm going to replicate his activity and then go and see how you can rectify it or get at least some suggestions. Example is here, recent study, just 2 weeks old, and what he did was, actually, let's go down a little bit more so you can see it. Okay, excuse my meandering, is I'm going to go up. And he went for, he has chronic fatigue syndrome, ME, brain fog, so I'll click there, go over, and as you see, absolutely no suggestions. Let's click bacteria detail. Nothing. Okay, and why is basically stated here. We're using the National Library of Medicine info. We use the count of mole-trap ranges. A bunch of things were preset automatically, and the result was no symptoms. Now, if we go back to the samples and we go over and go to advanced suggestions, we can go down here and same definition as before. We can go here. So we have gone and back and basically done the long way of doing the same thing, which the shortcut gave. And open suggestions, new windows. And as exactly expected, we have nothing happening there. But now let's go back, and what we're going to do is we're going to add two other items in, which is parents and children suggestions. And now let's see what happens. Oops, still nothing. Oh, and the reason is there's no bacteria to modify. So we weren't doing the right thing. We were actually making a certain mistake. So we could go up and say, okay, let's go top and bottom 12%. And let's see what happens there. We got suggestions. And we now have bacteria selection. The reason there was nothing was that the criteria for bacteria were too tight, which resulted in nothing being done. So here we have a bunch looking at 12%, and there we could go back and we could go and say, okay, well, let's not be so liberal. Let's go down to 6%, half of that, and let's do it again. And what do we get for bacteria? We get less bacteria. And we could go back one more time. And we'll go all the way down to 3%. And we get just 2 bacteria. So the count of mole-trap ranges are probably, some people say they are the most conservative range. They are ranges where there's definitely something's going wrong. They do not always result in absolutely the best. In this case, by loosening up a bit more, you get more bacteria, and once you get bacteria selected, you should always get suggestions coming up. Let's go back and do one more time. Let's go back up to 6%, which is for something like chronic fatigue is reasonable. The shifts may not be extreme shifts. They may be less than that. And we'll get rid of those two. So we are only dealing with direct references. And now we have our list of things which are there. And the person can now work on making the appropriate changes to diet and seeing where things go. That's basically it. I'm just showing that when you get no results, the number one reason is there's no bacteria selected that meet the criteria you're using. The canned ones are also conservative ones. We could also have gone back and used the alternative canned ones, which would be probably, let's go down and get things correctly situated, would be using Jason's magic number. And for him, we see the bacteria which he selected and suggestions coming from there. So that's basically it. As a FYI, just so people remember, we have done several studies there, and we have actually 18 different passes has been gone through, different ways of doing it. And we can just go and see what the consensus report are. And there we have the consensus report, the things which are the absolutes safe. I'm going to sort by take count, and there we had 18 there. We have a bunch of items which are across the board. None of the 18 says you shouldn't take it. We have some safer ones there. And again, we have 8, iron, etc. Down here, highest risk, we have all those. We have quite a list there, and see a whole stack of them are prescription items, which is interesting. And that means that somewhere in the thing somebody had checked prescriptions as choices, and there we go all the way to the very bottom. So I can see some items 4 says yes and 4 says no, but that's basically it. We have gone and solved the problem of no suggestions.